Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. So in today's video, we're going to be making a Stair Stepper card and we're going to be using heart-shaped dies for this. Now this is for an anniversary card, but it would make a great wedding card, engagement card, all those kind of things. But of course you can do this with any different shaped dies that you've got in your stash. So here are some of the products that I'm going to be using today. So I've got the embossing folder from Gina Designs. This is just a basic lattice design. Any embossing folder will work for this. I'm going to be using the Hero Arts Infinity dies in the hearts. For the numbers, I've got this Hunkydory Moonstone die set. This is the bold and beautiful numbers and it's got the ordinals as well. So I'm going to be using that today, but you could use stamps if that's what you've got and you don't have dies. And then I've got this lovely flowers paper pad. This was from the Works in the UK. I don't know if it's still available. It was 12 by 12 papers or cardstock. It was only £4. It was a real bargain and the patterns are really beautiful. So that's what I'm going to be using today. So first of all, we're going to need to make our card shape. So I've got a piece of 11 inches by 4 1/4. So this was a US letter size piece of card cut in half. And then you want to go ahead and score at 2.5, 5, 7, 9, 10. So you've got 2.5, 5, 7, 9 and 10. So fold and burnish all those score lines with mountain and valley folds and you'll end up with a little shape like this that we can then go ahead and decorate. So for our matte layers, you're going to need a piece of pattern paper that's 4 1/8 by 2 3/8. And then I've got a piece of white cardstock, which is going to be, this is for the back where we'd write our message. So that measures 2 1/4 inches by 4 inches. And then to decorate the panels on the front, you're going to want pieces of pattern cardstock that measure 4 inches by 2 1/4 inches. And then another piece that's 1 3/4 inches by 4 inches. And then you'll need a skinny little piece for the very front panel, which is going to measure 4 inches by 3 1/4 inches. So that'll just give you a nice little white border around the outside. So now we're going to go ahead and just get all of these panels stuck down. So I'm just using some Collal glue that I've got in that mini glue bottle there. And I'm just going to get all these stuck down to that card base. You could of course change up the pattern paper here. You could use holographic cardstock or mirror cardstock. Really make it your own, whatever design you decide to go with. But that's the basic start of our card today. So next we're going to add the heart-shaped stepper elements to this card. So I've already gone ahead and die cut the heart shapes using my Hero Arts Infinity dies. So I'm going to be using this lovely floral piece of paper that goes really nicely with that green and pink that we've already got. And then I've got a white matte layer that I've used with the embossing folder that I showed you at the beginning, the Gina Designs Lattice one. So I'm just kind of layering it up and working out my placement. I decide these hearts that I die cut for the front are just a little bit too big. So I am going to go ahead and dig out my Infinity dies and just make them a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to go ahead and get that first layer glued down. So this is the larger heart. This is the one that's going to go at the back. And this is the one that I'm going to adhere the numbers to as well. So I've already gone ahead and die cut the numbers from some gold mirror cardstock. And again, I'm just playing with the placement before I go ahead and stick them down. And then I'm just adding some liquid glue to the back of these and just sticking them in place. You could, of course, die cut these using double-sided adhesive sheets if you prefer, and then you wouldn't need to fiddle about with glue. But I don't have a problem using liquid glue. It doesn't bother me, so that's what I've used today. For the middle layer, I really want to stamp the sentiment on it. So I'm going to use this Happy Anniversary stamp set from Crafter's Companion. I love the fact that this has got lots of different fonts, so you can really mix and match. But I was really struggling. I wanted to use 2 different fonts, but I was struggling to get them to fit on the heart. So I ended up just using the same font as the anniversary. So I'm just going to line that up and then I'll grab out my acrylic block. I love the fact that with an acrylic block, you can use your grid lines on your glass mat to help line up your sentiment. So then you can make sure it's nice and straight. And then I'm just going to use my anti-static powder bag on the heart because we're going to heat emboss this. So I've got my Wow Embossing Ink Pad. And I'm just going to stamp that nice and clearly in the centre of that heart. And then I'm going to use the Wow Embossing Polished Gold embossing powder. So this is a lovely smooth gold finish when it's heat embossed. So yeah, it picks up all the fine detail in the sentiment as well. So I'm heating up my heat tool on the hottest setting, which is the number 2 one on the Wow heat tool. And then I'm just going to quickly heat set that. And you can see all that gorgeous shine there that the embossing powder gives. So yeah, I think it's a really nice embossing powder. So I'm just going to stick that down to that matte layer now of the pattern paper that we've got. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach these 2 hearts that we've already done to our card front. I'm going to use a little bit of foam tape just to give it a little bit of dimension. So you just want to make sure that the foam tape is only going to be in the areas that are going to be hidden behind the back panel. Otherwise you'll see it from behind. So I'm just removing the backing tape and I'm going to add some liquid glue just so that I've got a little bit of wiggle room in case it's not quite straight or not quite level. I want to make sure that there's a nice even border either side of it, which there isn't. So because I've added liquid glue, I can quickly peel it off and re-stick it down. And then I'm just checking behind that it's not peeking out. So once I've stuck that one down, I can then go ahead and stick the middle one down. And again, I'm just going to use a tiny bit of foam tape for this. This foam tape is terrible, but it's so sticky. And I really don't want to gunk up my scissors, so that's why I'm tearing it today. It's not the greatest foam tape in the world, but yeah, I've got it in my stash. I want to use it up. So again, I'm using some liquid glue, and then I can make sure that's nice and level. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach these little hearts to the front, but I still decide these are just a little bit too big. So again, I've gone ahead and die cut them a little bit smaller, and then I think they look a lot better now. So these I'm just going to attach down with some liquid glue. So again, I'm just making them slightly wonky, slightly just either side of each other. And then the gold one, I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape too, and then just pop that up on the front as well. So just to step this card up a little bit more, I've gone ahead off camera and made up some flowers using the Brushstroke Flowers mini dies. These are Sizzix dies from Tim Holtz, and I've already gone ahead and paper pieced them all together. And so I'm just going to play around with the layout now. You could of course use any kind of die cut flowers that you've got in your stash. I'm sure if you've been making cards for a while, you'll have some kind of paper flowers in your stash, so go ahead and use these. If not, then you can use some gems, sequins, anything else that you'd like to add just to step the card up a little bit. Of course it's fine as it is, but I just really wanted to play around with these flowers today. These, if you've not seen them before, I'll show you them a little bit closer once we've finished the card, but I really enjoy making them. It's a bit like doing a jigsaw puzzle. That's how it kind of feels when you're putting them together. But I love the fact that I could just die cut these from coordinating coloured cardstock that went with the pattern paper today. And yeah, I just think they suited the card really nicely. So these are the dies. You get 14 dies in the set, but each die cuts out multiple pieces. So I'm just going to show you one of the leaves and how they look on the die. So you can see there it's going to cut out 4 elements. So you've got the main leaf, and then there's an embossed detail, and the embossed detail shows you where you need to add all of those extra little pieces. And then when you piece them together, you get these lovely kind of 3D effect flowers. So yeah, they're really, really pretty. And I love how they finished this card off today. So that is the finished card for today. So thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you give it a go. And remember, you can use any shape dies that you've got in your stash. As always, all the products that I've used will be linked in the description box below. And just so you know, this card kind of measures 4 1/4 inches squared in total. So it would fit in like a nice 5x5 envelope if you didn't want to custom make one. And yeah, don't forget as well that I am taking part in the Paper Crafters Get Organised Summit that's on the weekend, April 19th to the 21st. Again, all of that will be linked in the description box below. And if you haven't got your free ticket there yet, then please use the link in the top right hand corner now, where you can sign up for free and you'll have access to the summit. So yeah, more information will be in the box below. And as always, I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.